Joining us now for our high school winter sports championship, 12 sports exclusive here on WPRI.com. Maury Hirschgorn alongside Providence Journal's Eric Ruby covers high school sports, all high school sports across the state. Eric, first of all, let's start with this. The hockey series start tonight, Friday, the time of this taping. Some news, though, on the D1 boys front. What can you tell us about Bishop Hendricken and Mount St. Charles?
Well, as far as I know and what I reported this morning, the series, first it was found out that game one was off, and then later the news broke that the series itself is off. As far as I found out from various sources, there's a positive COVID test within the Mount St. Charles program. That caused the league to decide to just cancel the series outright. So they will not be playing for a Division I title. Instead, they're going to name both teams are going to be named co-champions. And from what I've been told, the schools are trying to play a charity game next week, provided everyone clears COVID. They're going to be raising money for AJ Quetta. It's not the finish either team wants, but considering the circumstances, it's something.
All right, so that's behind us. In Division II, we've got top-seeded Cranston West against the 3-seed North Kingstown. What can you tell us about that one?
The Falcons have been the best team in Division II all season. They score a lot. Their first line's, the best in the division for a reason. And they got them there. Talking to North Kingstown over the weekend, that's their number one concern, is trying to figure out how to slow that front line down. If they can kind of play defensive hockey, they're hoping they can, squeak out some of these games. They don't want to get in a shootout, so. It should be a good series. I'm hoping for 3 games just to see that game 3, but we'll see how it goes.
On the girls' side, LaSalle would already have an advantage regardless of who they play, even if their opponent's at full strength. But the East Bay Co-op not at full strength. What can you tell us about that and how that affects the series?
Yeah, East Bay's been they kind of scrapped it all together this year just to have a team on the ice. Sarah Torillo was their starting goalkeeper. She just started skating this summer to learn how to play hockey, and they put her in goal. She unfortunately got hurt in game 2 of the semifinal series. They had a backup girl, brought her off the ice, put the pads on her, and she had to be the goaltender in game 3. They won a 7-6, crazy game against South County. So East Bay's kind of going in there having fun. LaSalle's good. They're good from every shift, every line. Everybody knows how to play. It's going to be a tough stretch for East Bay to win, but they're going to go out there and play hard. And I mean, the kids are, for the most part, talking to their coach. They're just happy they're getting this final chance. They're going to get to close the season this way. For LaSalle, this would be an impressive 3rd straight title, and you have to commend them for that.
So predictions on the spot right here for hockey. It's LaSalle for girls, and who for the D2 boys?
I have to say Cranston West, just because offense, the way those their top 3 kids have scored, it's really hard to see that just falling off all of a sudden in the playoffs.
So those are best-of-3 series starting Friday night, Game 2 Saturday. Potential decisive Game 3 would be Monday. Transitioning now Saturday this weekend, boys hoops. We've got a triple header at Rick. Starts with Division III, BVP and Times Square. Not a lot of people have seen either school. 2 charter schools. The team that wins is going to bring home their first title. What can you tell us about both sides and who prevails?
Times 2 has been one of the top programs in D3 this year, and they've got some sneaky talent. Jason Peters is just an absolute freak of a guard, and nobody knows him because he's in Division III, but he's a top flight scorer, and he shot 14 of 16 in the semifinals against West Warwick, which you make 14 baskets, maybe it takes 20, 25 shots, but 14 out of 16 in the semifinal is absurd. So he kind of carried them there. BVP they got off to a rough start. They've got Jordan Mendez and Xavier Mendez, spelled differently. I've kind of dubbed them the Flying Mendai because these two they're the team for BVP. Xavier Mendez is one of the best passing big men I've ever seen, but he rebounds and can score and just it's almost as if the offense just everything revolves around him. Jordan's a scorer, and they can put up points. They can play defense. It's going to be it might be the most competitive game of the weekend for the boys.
And who do you think comes out on top?
I want to say Times 2 because I kind of predicted them early at the start of the season, and they've got the scoring. But I believe so much in Xavier Mendez after seeing him play last year that I really think Blackstone Valley Prep is going to – they're playing so good. I really think they're going to win this tomorrow.
And he's had the rare accomplishment of 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds in his high school career. We don't get to see that too often. In Division II, 2 o'clock tip at Rick. Portsmouth, the defending D2 champ, back in the title game after upsetting East Greenwich. And then an upstart Burrillville team So what about these two teams and who comes out on top?
And I'm putting together my previews for tomorrow right now, but this is an oil and water game. Portsmouth is going to score. They want to score. They want to put up points. They've got Ben Hurd, one of the best guards in the state. Burville doesn't want to score. Not that they don't want to score, but they don't want anybody to score. They're trying to keep this game in the 40s, low 50s because they play defense. They don't have a basketball player on that team. It's kids who have grown up playing basketball that play other sports. They're just athletes who play hard, play tough, and play together. And it was really kind of fun to watch them play against Wheeler the other night. They make other teams work harder than they should for offense. Their offense, it's spotty. They've got some shooters. Wes Kenora if he gets hot, he's not going to miss. And it makes them an interesting team. But again, with Portsmouth, with their size and with Hurd, they were the defending two champs, and it's not like a surprise to see them. They were in, I think, what people think was a better division. Burville's a Cinderella, I guess, but they're a better team than a lot of people think.
Whose style do you favor?
I mean, it depends on the day. Watching Burville play defense the way they did the other day was really fun, but when you watch Ben Hurd just drive to the basket and go, it's really fun to watch. And I mean, I'm trying to make a pick for my column for tonight that's coming out, and I don't know. Like, I want to take Burville because it's a great story, but I just think Ben Hurd's going to be too much in this game, and I don't know if they're going to be able to slow him down.
So leaning towards the Patriots for Division II. Division I is a rematch of potentially maybe the best game we saw this year in the regular season. Classical, the top seed, Bishop Hendricken, the 2 seed. Classical went to Warwick, beat the Hawks on their home court earlier. Does Hendricken get revenged, or does Classical finish off the sweep and claim the D1 crown?
This game's going to be another absurd game because they're so evenly matched, strength versus strength. I'm really looking forward to see. I'm hoping Hendricken's going to put Andres Andahar on Marquise Buchanan. Buchanan's an unbelievable point guard, maybe the best in the state. Andahar is probably the best on-ball defender in the state that I've seen by far. So you've got that matchup. And then inside, you're going to have Cam Hughes, who's a 6'5", 300-pound ballerina underneath with his footwork and how he plays in the post. He was unbelievable against LaSalle. To see Alexis Del Giudice match up with him is going to be fun. Del Giudice doesn't have the height or the size, but he's strong. Did a great job against Barrington's 6'7" center, Connor Sullivan, the other night. So it's going to be kind of just to watch the two bigs battle and then watch that matchup up top. And then you have to start looking at the outside. There's so many good players in this game. Stanley Ure is a scorer for Classical. David Lynch, he was hot the other night, and then when he cooled off in the second half, Justin Perez came and picked him up. There's so many good pieces on both these teams. It was a 3-point game last time. It's probably going to be that again tomorrow night.
And what's your gut tell you?
I said at the start of the season, with Hendricken's size and the way they play defense, it's going to be really hard to beat them. And I know they lost that one game, but I'm going to stick with it's going to be really hard to beat them with their size and with the way they play D. So people are going to hate it, but I'm going to take Hendricken.
All right, in the swimming ranks, the boys have their championships on Saturday. Who are some key teams to look out for as well as individuals?
Well, the biggest thing with swim this year is, I mean, it's going to be, I shouldn't say it's going to be, it should be the Hendricken show again to win the state title. The format this year has been so different than it has in the past, where before it was an individual sport where team things were after, but now it's so team focused. And it's really cool. And I'm hoping the Interscholastic kind of draws from that and says, well, maybe we start doing this every year, having a dual meet type championship where we're not worried about the times. We're just worried about seeing kids race to see who's going to finish first, who's going to finish second. And I think that's going to be the highlight of these meets. And it was really good by the league to get all these meets at the Pods Aquatic Center, East Providence, to have it all on one site to kind of give it that championship feel.
Cool. And then on Sunday, we've got a triple header of girls action in D3. We start with Mount Pleasant, Mount Hope. Preview of that one?
It's, I talked to Zach Pinto last night after his team won the semifinal, and Mount Pleasant does something different in the playoffs. It's Francesca Contreras is a Division III player that nobody knows about. She's an unreal athlete. She can play all 5 positions on the court. Her defense is what kind of separates her and makes her a monster. She'll get 10, 12 steals a game because she's so athletic. And when she gets that, Mount Pleasant runs. Then they start getting into transition. That's how they score. Mount Hope's had some really good scorers this year, and they put up some points. Elsa White's been pretty good coming in this year. Isabel Savignon, I'm hoping pronouncing that right. She's been doing great. But I don't like Mount Hope. has been great all year, but the way Mount Pleasant plays in this postseason, it's almost the same as last year's postseason. And as a writer, I'm looking for storylines, and that's all I see, and I can't stop focusing on Mount Pleasant winning this thing.
In Division II, Classical Pontigansett, the Chieftains play one of the more up-tempo styles of offense on both sides, boys and girls. A fun team to watch. How do you see that one shaking out?
Well, Pontigansett's going to be fun. They probably play that style of basketball that a lot of the older generation probably hates, because they're just trying to chuck as many threes as possible and see what falls. But they run hard. They play fast. Their defense has gotten better. The thing everyone's going to have to figure out is who is Classical going to have. They had a couple players who had some COVID issues, weren't able to play the other night. I had talked to the coach last night. He wasn't sure if they were going to be able to be cleared in time to play. He didn't know. They were trying to work it out with the Department of Health. If Classical's at full strength, they're going to win the game. If they're not at full strength, it's going to be much more interesting, because they have Classical's got Melly Jimenez at center, 6'1". She's strong in the post, great feet, scored 28 last night, and that's what Pontigansett doesn't have, is size. So that's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to say, from what I know now, with where Classical's at with their roster, I'm going to take Pontigansett to win this game, because I think that their depth, they're going to run 10, 11 girls out there. Pontigansett played 6 the other night. If they're playing 10, 11 players, they're running up and down, I don't think Classical's going to have the gas to play 4 full quarters.
And then in the D1 girls title game, similar to the boys, we have the top 2 seeds. Barrington, the 2 seed, St. Ray's, the 1 seed, probably the best team in all of girls hoops. They have the best player. Do the Saints emerge victorious in your eyes?
This is, I've been writing it all year. This is a revenge tour. Last year, the school was ground zero for COVID in Rhode Island. That's where it kind of started. They didn't get to play the Division I tournament. They actually were, Barrington beat them via forfeit last year in this tournament. So they want to win. This has been their only goal this season, win a championship. Amaya Dowd is, like you said, the best player in the state. No one in the state can kind of match up with her at this point. Barrington's got a lot of great young talent, and I think they're ready to win, but I just think it's going to come down to Amaya Dowdy. If Barrington can figure out a way to contain her, they'll have a shot. But the way she's been playing this year, it's no one's been able to do it. So I really think this is going to be the Saints game.
And Dowdy has already signed her Division I letter of intent to UMass Lowell up in Lowell, Mass. And then to round out the weekend, Eric, we've got girls swimming. Some headliners there?
Look at Barrington. Sandy Gorham last year, and even for the last 2 years, has kept saying, "Oh, we're not going to win it this year. We're not going to win it this year," and then they go and win it. They're in the finals again. He's doing an unbelievable job with that program. It's a different, like I said, it's a different kind of state championship with the dual meets, but it's really interesting just to kind of see a program like that succeed and get through.
All right, one of the busiest weekends, I should say, in the winter high school sports season. Championship weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Eric will be all over it for the Providence Journal. You can check out his work on projo.com. You can also find him on Twitter. Rube, then we'll also have to have you in a couple weeks back on to start to preview the high school football season, which is just around the corner. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem. Blast.